It's English time! Hi, I'm Teacher Mitch. Come and join me as we learn English the easy way. Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to keep updated with my latest uploads. Please also share and hit the like button if you appreciate my videos. Thank you! Hi there, Grade 7! Ready na ba kayo for another English 7 learning journey? I bet you are, kaya naman magsimula na tayo. Here are our target learning competencies. Extract significant information. Analyze the real-world issues or occurrences presented in informational texts. Draw inferences and conclusions to formulate sound judgment. Author's purpose and meaning. Target audience. Analyze textual evidence to support an argument or general statement through quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. Our discussion will focus on informational texts, specifically about author's purpose and target audience, real-world issues presented in the text, textual evidence that supports arguments by summarizing, paraphrasing, and quoting, non-linear text that summarize and or represent information. When you are reading an informational text, there are certain aspects that you need to analyze. First, what is the author's purpose? Second, who are the target audience? Third, does it tackle real-world issues? Fourth, what are the author's arguments and supporting evidence? And fifth, are there non-linear texts such as graphs, charts, timelines, or infographics that help summarize or represent information? Bilang panimula, alam niyo ba kung ano ang ibig sabihin at mga halimbawa ng informational text? Informational text is a category of non-fiction writing that aims to inform, explain, describe, or provide facts about a particular topic. It is the opposite of fiction writing. Kung matatandaan nyo, nakapag-discuss na tayo ng fictional text sa quarter 1 and 2, which are the poems and short stories. And for this quarter, ang focus naman natin ay non-fictional texts. Let's take a glimpse of the key differences between fictional and non-fictional texts. In terms of definition, fictional texts are created from the imagination of the author. They are not based on factual events, though they may be inspired by real life. While non-fictional texts are based on facts, real events, and actual people. Their purpose is to inform, explain, or describe. Purpose. Fictional texts aim to entertain, inspire, or explore creative ideas and themes, while non-fictional texts target to educate, inform, persuade, or provide factual accounts. Tone and style. Fictional texts are often imaginative, emotional, and subjective. Tone may vary widely based on the genre, for example, dramatic, humorous, or suspenseful. Non-fictional texts are objective and factual, aiming for clarity and accuracy. Tone is usually neutral or formal depending on the audience. Examples of fictional text are novels, short stories, plays, poetry, fables, and myths. Examples of non-fictional text are biographies, memoirs, news articles, essays, or textbooks. In terms of content, fictional text focuses on plot, characters, settings, and themes created by the author, while non-fictional text focuses on factual information, real-life events, data, and analysis. For the structure, fictional text may follow a narrative structure with a beginning, middle, and end, often includes creative elements like dialogues and descriptive language, while non-fictional texts are organized logically, often with headings, subheadings, and sections, includes features like tables, charts, and references for clarity. Flexibility. Fictional texts are highly flexible and imaginative, allowing for abstract ideas and fantastical elements, while non-fictional texts are constrained by facts and reality, requiring evidence to support claims. Now, here are the types of informational texts. Number 1. Expository text. Explain concepts, processes, or ideas. For example, textbooks or encyclopedias. Number 2. Persuasive informational text. It presents facts to argue a position while maintaining a factual basis. For example, editorials or policy reports. Number 3. Procedural text. Provide step-by-step instructions. For example, user manuals or how-to guides. And number 4. Descriptive text. Focus on explaining details about a topic. For example, travel brochures or product descriptions. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, when we analyze a text this way, this is what we call textual analysis. Textual analysis is a vital skill that allows readers to extract meaning, evaluate arguments, and connect textual insights to broader real-world contexts. Paano nga ba mapapadali ang pagkaunawa natin sa isang informational text? First is by drawing inferences about the author's purpose and target audience. To understand a text fully, readers must determine why the author wrote it and for whom. The author's purpose could range from persuading and informing to entertaining or challenging societal norms. For instance, what language choices indicate persuasion versus neutrality? How does the author's tone align with their intended audience, for example, academic, general public, or activists? Example, an op-ed on climate change might use urgent, emotive language to appeal to concerned citizens, while a research paper on the same topic adopts a more objective tone for scientific audiences. When analyzing a text, it is also essential to identify its target audience, as this influences the author's tone, style, and content. Understanding the distinction between different audience types enables readers to assess the text's effectiveness in meeting its purpose. Let's have a quick comparison of some of the classifications of audience. Hypothetical versus real audiences. Hypothetical audience. The audience the author envisions while creating the text. This group shapes how arguments are framed, even if the actual audience differs. For example, a marketing plan might assume a hypothetical audience of environmentally conscious consumers. Real audience, the group that actually engages with the text. Sometimes, the real audience's needs or interpretations differ from those anticipated by the author. For example, a government health campaign might target a hypothetical audience of parents with young children, focusing on simple, family-friendly advice. However, its real audience might include older adults seeking similar health tips, necessitating broader appeal. Experts versus lay people. Experts. Texts aimed at experts typically feature technical jargon, in-depth analysis, and assumptions of prior knowledge. These texts may prioritize data, methodologies, and nuanced arguments. Example, a scientific journal article about quantum mechanics presupposes a reader familiar with complex physics concepts. Lay people. Texts for general audiences simplify terminology, offer background context, and use relatable examples to ensure accessibility. Example, a popular science book on quantum mechanics explains principles like Schrödinger's cat using analogies and plain language. Managerial versus rank and file. Managerial audience. Texts directed at managers focus on strategic thinking, decision-making, and high-level overviews. These texts may emphasize outcomes, performance metrics, or resource allocation. Example: a corporate report summarizing the financial performance of a department will highlight key trends and recommendations for decision makers. Rank and file audience. Materials for frontline employees or workers emphasize practical instructions, clarity, and actionable steps. These texts often avoid abstract ideas in favor of direct applications. Example: an employee training manual on safety protocols outlines step-by-step procedures in simple terms, often accompanied by visuals. We can also understand an informational text by analyzing real-world issues presented. Text often mirror societal concerns, offering insight into cultural, political, or environmental issues. Identifying these real-world issues helps contextualize the text's arguments and values. These are the questions that you might take into consideration. What societal debates does the text address or reflect? Does the author propose solutions, or do they aim to raise awareness? For example, a novel like The Handmaid's Tale highlights gender inequality and political oppression, encouraging readers to reflect on contemporary parallels in their societies. Another way of textual analysis is by analyzing how textual evidence supports arguments. Textual evidence is the foundation of a strong argument. Effective use of summarizing, paraphrasing, and quoting allows readers and writers to interact critically with text, build coherent arguments, and ensure that interpretations are grounded in the source material. These techniques allow readers to distill key ideas while maintaining fidelity to the source. Let's discuss each technique. Number 1. Summarizing. Provides a condensed version of the main ideas or themes of a text. Helps clarify overarching arguments without delving into specifics. Best used to present background information or set up a broader discussion. Let's say this is the original text. Climate change is causing an increase in the frequency and intensity of hurricanes, as warmer ocean temperatures provide more energy to fuel these storms. Summary: climate change intensifies hurricanes by warming oceans. Advantages of summarizing: concise and accessible, ideal for broad overviews. Number 2. Paraphrasing. Rephrases the text in the reader's or writer's own words, while retaining the original meaning. Demonstrates understanding and integrates evidence seamlessly into a new context. Useful for emphasizing specific points or tailoring evidence to an argument. Here is an example of an original text. The global reliance on fossil fuels continues to drive greenhouse gas emissions, despite increasing awareness of their environmental impacts. Example paraphrase: although people are more aware of the environmental harm caused by fossil fuels, their use remains a primary source of greenhouse gas emissions. Advantages of using paraphrasing: maintains focus on the argument while preserving essential details. Avoids over-reliance on direct quotes. Number 3. Quoting. Uses the author's exact words, often enclosed in quotation marks, to provide strong, undeniable support. Effective for highlighting particularly persuasive or authoritative statements. Requires careful selection to avoid over-quoting or including irrelevant text. Here is an example of an original text. The melting of Arctic sea ice is one of the most visible and alarming indicators of global climate change. Here is a sample quotation. According to the text, the melting of Arctic sea ice is one of the most visible and alarming indicators of global climate change. Here are the advantages of using quoting. adds credibility and emphasis, ensures the original voice of the source is preserved. Now the question is, when should you use each technique? For summarizing, it is used when introducing a topic or providing a broad overview of background information. Paraphrasing is used when incorporating evidence that needs to be tailored or reframed for your argument. And for quoting, it is used when the original wording is particularly impactful, authoritative, or difficult to rephrase effectively. I have here an example analysis focusing on the techniques used for textual analysis. Let's say that this is the claim of the writer or the author of an informational text. Renewable energy sources are essential for combating climate change. Now, you will support the claim by providing evidence, using summary. Transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy reduces greenhouse gas emissions. Using paraphrase. Studies show that solar and wind energy significantly lower carbon output compared to coal and natural gas. Using quotation. Renewable energy is the key to achieving a sustainable future. Lifted from the work of Smith in 2020. Now, by combining summary, paraphrase, and quotation, the argument gains breadth or summary, clarity for paraphrasing, and authority for quotation. We can also further understand an informational text by analyzing nonlinear texts to summarize or represent information. Nonlinear texts present information in formats other than traditional sequential paragraphs. These texts are designed for easy navigation and quick understanding, often using visual or structured formats like tables, graphs, flowcharts, and diagrams. They allow readers to extract key points efficiently without reading in a strictly linear order. These are the questions that you may ask yourself as you analyze nonlinear text. How does a graph clarify trends discussed in a research title? Does an infographic enhance accessibility for visual learners? For example, in a report on global warming, a line graph showing temperature increases over decades might visually underscore written claims about the urgency of climate action. Here are other examples of nonlinear texts. Tables. Organize data into rows and columns for comparison or categorization. Example, a table showing product features. Graphs and charts. Visualize data trends, relationships, or proportions. Example, a bar graph of monthly sales data. Flow charts. Represent processes, steps, or workflows. Example, a flow chart for troubleshooting software. Diagrams. Illustrate structures, systems, or concepts. Example, a label diagram of the water cycle. Mind maps. Display ideas and their relationship visually, often branching from a central theme. Example, a mind map for brainstorming project ideas. Infographics. Combine visuals and concise text to present key ideas. Example, an infographic about climate change. Now, let's apply what we've learned from our discussion. Read this short text and let's do textual analysis afterwards. The world's demand for energy is constantly growing. As our population increases and technology advances, we need more ways to power our homes, businesses, and transportation. Fossil fuels like coal and oil have been the main source of energy for many years, but they contribute to pollution and climate change. Renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and geothermal power offer a cleaner and more sustainable alternative. Solar panels convert sunlight into electricity. Wind turbines capture the power of the wind, and geothermal energy harnesses the heat from the Earth's core. These renewable resources can be replenished naturally and produce minimal greenhouse gas emissions. However, there are also challenges associated with renewable energy. Solar panels can be expensive to install, and wind turbines can sometimes disrupt wildlife habitats. Despite these challenges, many countries are investing in renewable energy sources to reduce their reliance on fossil fuels and create a cleaner future. Now, let's do textual analysis based on the factors we discussed earlier. Number 1. Author's purpose. The purpose of the text is to inform and persuade readers about the growing need for renewable energy as a cleaner and more sustainable alternative to fossil fuels. The author provides factual information about renewable energy sources and highlights both their benefits and challenges. Target audience. The text appears to target a general audience, including individuals with a basic understanding of energy issues but not necessarily experts. This is evident from the straightforward language, lack of technical jargon, and inclusion of broad examples like solar panels and wind turbines. The audience may include lay people interested in environmental sustainability, students or individuals seeking introductory knowledge about energy sources, and policy influencers or the general public being educated about energy transitions. Real-world issues. The text addresses several pressing real-world issues. Energy demand. The growing global need for energy, driven by population growth and technological advancement. Environmental impact. The negative consequences of relying on fossil fuels, including pollution and climate change. Sustainability. The potential of renewable energy to meet energy demands without depleting resources or harming the environment. Economic and ecological challenges. The high installation cost of renewable energy systems and their potential impact on wildlife. Author's arguments and supporting evidence. Argument 1. Renewable energy is a cleaner and more sustainable alternative to fossil fuels. Supporting evidence. Renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and geothermal produce minimal greenhouse gas emissions. These resources can be replenished naturally, making them sustainable in the long term. Argument 2. Challenges exist in adopting renewable energy technologies. Supporting evidence. Solar panels are expensive to install. Wind turbines may disrupt wildlife habitats. Conclusion. Despite challenges, investment in renewable energy is essential for reducing reliance on fossil fuels and addressing climate change. Use of nonlinear text. While this text is primarily linear, it could benefit from incorporating nonlinear elements such as table, comparing the advantages and disadvantages of fossil fuels and renewable energy sources. Graph, showing trends in greenhouse gas emissions from fossil fuels versus renewables. Diagram, illustrating how renewable energy technologies such as solar panels, wind turbines, and geothermal systems work. These elements would enhance readability and provide visual summaries of key information. Thanks for watching!